Good evening and welcome to our coverage of the 2024 election on WWL Plus. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. The polls are now closed here in Louisiana. Besides the presidential race, there are also many state and local races we're watching. We have Katie Moore standing by along with WWL political analysts Clancy Dubos and Ron Fauché. They'll be digging into the race for the White House as those results start coming in as well.
We also have live crews keeping an eye on the major races across our area. Paul Murphy watching the District 1 race from Congressman Steve Scalise's election night party. Whitney Miller is covering the race for Louisiana's new District 6 and watching the race for District 4 and District 2. We have Mike McDaniel and Lily Cummings.
First, let's get out to Paul Murphy on District 1. That covers a large part of our area, including most of the North Shore and parts of Jefferson and Orleans parishes.
Well, Steve Scalise was first elected to this seat 16 years ago. He's expected to win it easily tonight. Paul is at his election night party at Drago's in Metairie.
Well, it's unclear whether Congressman Steve Scalise is actually in the building yet, but I can tell you that this room at Drago's restaurant is beginning to fill up. If you take a look, a lot of Republican leaders from the area are here. Some of those that I've seen so far, the St. Bernard Parish President Louis Paul Mays is here, State Senator Kirk Talbot, and also Jefferson Parish Council at Large Scott Walker is here. Now, I was told that Congressman Scalise cast his ballot. He voted about 2 hours ago, or within the last 2 hours, I should say. He was then going to spend some time with his family before the polls closed, which, of course, has just happened. Earlier, he told me that in addition to keeping his eye on his race, he'd also be looking at what's happening nationally, particularly for the presidential race. Scalise has spent a lot of time on the stump for other GOP candidates, and most recently, over the weekend, he spoke at several rallies for former President Donald Trump. He said in particular he'd be watching Pennsylvania, other swing states such as Arizona and Nevada. He said that tonight the Republicans have a good chance to win back the White House, expand the majority in the House, and also flip the Senate to the GOP. And that's what it looks like right now at the Steve Scalise election watch party at Drago's in Metairie. Paul Murphy, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. We'll be watching the race for District 6 very closely tonight. The Supreme Court recently ordered the state to create it, giving Louisiana a second majority black district.
Whitney Miller is keeping an eye on those returns in Baton Rouge. Whitney?
Yes, you guys, that new district spans from Baton Rouge to Caddo Parish, and we are here tonight at Crown Plaza Hotel in Baton Rouge for Cleo Fields' watch party, his headquarters here. I'm going to step out of the frame here so you can see the party has gotten started. People, the supporters here are mingling. The food has arrived. People are getting excited about tonight. He is the favored candidate for this seat. Like I have been telling you all night, you'll remember this was created after a federal judge ordered the state to redo those maps in order to create a second majority black district. The Supreme Court will soon take up the case once again to decide whether the state relied too heavily on race when drawing the new district. Now, despite the court expecting to make a final decision by next summer, voters may notice that those maps, they were still on the ballot because the court says the issue arose too close to the November elections. The other big thing about this race is that it has a chance to switch the power of a historically red area to a blue area, because there is only one Republican candidate, and that's Elbert Guillory. The other candidates are Democratic, and that's Quentin Anderson, Wilkin Jones Jr., and Peter Williams. If a Democrat wins, it could tip the balance of power for the U.S. House of Representatives. For now, live in Baton Rouge, Whitney Miller, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, Whitney, thank you. District 2 is Louisiana's other majority black district. Right now, it's represented by Congressman Troy Carter.
He's facing another Democrat and several Republicans in his race to keep the seat. Lily Cummings joining us now. She's following that race from Carter's election night headquarters. This in downtown New Orleans.
Devin, Sharice, that is correct. We're at the Metropolitan here in the Warehouse District. We've been here since about 5 p.m. The party actually didn't even start until 8, so we are just now seeing people start to trickle in. Now, Carter, as you know, is the favorite to win this race. He is no stranger to Louisiana politics, serving in the Louisiana House as both a representative and a senator, as well as the New Orleans City Council, and then, of course, going on to take Cedric Richmond's seat as a U.S. Congressman. Now, he represents, obviously, a lot of our state, representing both Orleans, Jefferson, a majority of the river parishes, as well as some parts of East and West Baton Rouge. In total, nearly 750,000 people. We've also seen a lot of support for Carter on both sides of the aisle. He's gotten a lot of endorsements from both Republicans and Democrats in Jefferson Parish, as well as Orleans. So he definitely is the favorite to win tonight. A lot of people are expecting him to retain his seat in Congress, and he did tell us earlier this afternoon when we ran into him, he was doing a brass band and waving to supporters near Napoleon and St. Charles this afternoon. He said he feels comfortable heading into the race tonight. Now, of course, he's going to need a majority of the vote to take this race. However, if he does not get that, it will go down to the top two vote getters in a runoff on December 7th. As you mentioned, he is up against 3 Republicans and then 1 other Democrat, kind of a political newcomer, Devin Davis. So there is a lot to watch here tonight. However, the vibes are feeling optimistic as we await the results here in the Warehouse District. Reporting live, Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
All right, Lily, thank you so much. In District 4, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is facing only one opponent, a fellow Republican. Mike McDaniel is in downtown Shreveport.
And Mike, this race is much bigger than just Louisiana.
Yeah, hey there, Sharice. Hey there, Devin, and anyone else watching, no matter where you're from. Welcome to downtown Shreveport. I tell you, the party is really well underway and drastically changed when it comes to the amount of people that were here over the past hour. There was moments ago, there was a line out the door, across the street, and then down the block for folks to get in here. A lot of that had to really do with security. As you might would imagine, it's very tight, especially when you have the Speaker of the House here. Folks have really started to show up on the rooftop here at the Remington Hotel in downtown Shreveport, mingling around, watching TVs, having a good time, drinking, eating. Of course, if you see a lot of people looking off to the right, that's because they're watching 2 gigantic screens, which are to my left, kind of watching all these results come in. We see some of the races being called. A lot of folks really paying attention to the congressional races. And I'll tell you, that's the big concern here. It's not so much that Mike Johnson is concerned if he's going to win this 4th congressional seat. We kind of know that's going to happen. He only has 1 challenger in this race. It's a lesser-known candidate. The big concern here, however, is whether he keeps his position as House Speaker. If the Republicans somehow manage to keep control of the U.S. House, he's poised to keep his position as House Speaker. But if Democrats are managed in a way to find some way to flip some of those seats in the House, then they could very well oust Mike Johnson as a Speaker. So that's really what a lot of folks are paying attention to in this race. We'll give you more a lay of the land coming up in just a little bit. Of course, we don't know if Mike Johnson is here just yet. He did land in Shreveport just a few hours ago because he had spent last night and most of this morning, out in those eastern states, those battleground states like Pennsylvania as well as the Carolinas. So he has been on the go campaigning for those congressional Republicans that he really wants to be in the House to help him maintain power as House Speaker. Of course, the only House Speaker from Louisiana at this point. He spoke a little bit, I guess it was when he cast his ballot, he spoke about the opportunity to be thrust into that position. He said he was humbled by it. It was not something he went after. It was almost like an accident, but you can tell just from talking to him and hearing him speak that he definitely wants to maintain that position. Now, we did get word just a few minutes ago before we came on air that he's going to be speaking behind me at 8:30. That's the time that they have him set up to go behind me, so we plan to hear from House Speaker Mike Johnson at 8:30 from the campaign watch party here in downtown Shreveport.